How about a Coppola quick facts?
In 1999, Sony Pictures Entertainment purchased the film rights to Astro Boy from Osamu Tezuka Productions, intending to produce a combination live-action animatronics CGI feature, which would have been even worse, I think. I think animated was the right way to go.
Yeah.
Live action, I don't know what you would have done. Would you have done like an actual kid and he like becomes a robot? Going to look like a big boy flying around. It was going to be produced alongside Jim Henson Productions. So was it going to be a Muppet? It would have been really interesting, actually. Now I kind of want to see that. Was originally slated for a Christmas of 2000 release, which would have been right around the time that Christmas Carol came out. Remember Christmas? That was a great movie. They had Eric Leighton attached to direct. He's the guy who did Dinosaur.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
This came to no result, and in June 2004, Leighton was replaced with accomplished animator Gendy Tartakovsky.
Yep.
He did
Legendary animator.
Dexter's Laboratory, Samurai Jack.
The original Clone Wars 2D cartoon.
Of course, you would know that one.
Yeah, no, he is a legendary animator.
Had a scheduled release of 2007 at that point. However, sometime after this announcement was made, Tartakovsky left to produce the Dark Crystal sequel, The Power of the Dark Crystal, which I don't think anybody has seen, right?
I didn't think that even existed. That's
There's
wild.
apparently a sequel to The Dark Crystal. Called The Power of the Dark Crystal.
Animated?
I don't think so. I think it's similar to the way that it was done originally.
Gendy Tartakovsky agreed to direct, that he could direct on two conditions. The film would utilize live-action puppets as well as computer animation, and that Brian Froud would return to design the characters. So I guess there is a sequel to The Dark Crystal. It's not the Netflix series that was pretty good, but then canceled after one season.
Well, there you go. Now you got something to watch. I'm sure it's great since nobody's heard of it.
Yeah.
Also, at one point, Brad Bird was apparently interested in directing this film, which would have been kind of perfect. I mean, Iron Giant guy, like that would have been awesome. Scarlett Johansson was originally set to voice Cora, but was replaced by Kristen Bell for unknown reasons, which is weird to me. I guess Kristen Bell was kind of coming off of Veronica Mars. Maybe they wanted a more childish sounding voice than Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett could not do. Yeah, her voice is kind of deep.
Yeah, she's got kind of a raspy voice. Yeah, and that was 2009. So I would imagine that Kristen Bell was probably also cheaper to hire than Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, it could be that she was signing on and had to be available for Marvel stuff and whatnot. Or she just didn't want to do it, or they found a cheaper option.
Maybe she read the script and she was like, I'm good.
Who knows?
This was Kristen Bell's first time voice acting in a theatrical film. But of course, she famously went on to be Anna in the Frozen films, and then Priscilla the Sloth in Zootopia. She's also Jade Wilson in Teen Titans Go to the Movies, which we unfortunately have to watch next. Samuel L. Jackson is in this movie, but he speaks 11 words throughout the whole thing. He of course plays Zog. How do you hire Sam Jackson and have him do 11 words?
Yeah,
and not have one of those words be motherfucker.
Well, he's got to have like a minimum rate, I would imagine. So you got to pay at least that for the hour that you get him in the recording booth. So maybe he did it for scale, and it was only like whatever that is, $5,000 or whatever.
I will remind you that the budget on this thing was $65 million, and there are 400 A-listers in this thing. So
he knew somebody who knew somebody and owed a favor or something. It does sound like money laundering.
This is interesting. The role that Nick Cage ended up eventually taking Dr. Tenma. Other people who were considered for the voice: Chris Pine, Paul Bettany, Guy Pearce, Toby Stevens, Jerry O'Connell, and Alec Baldwin. All very different actors.
I feel like they all would have done a better job. Spoilers.
He just was there. I don't know. He didn't, I don't feel like anybody needed to like.
Yeah, but I feel anything. I haven't seen Chris Pine phone in a performance. I haven't really seen Alec Baldwin phone in a performance. I don't remember who were some of the people that were in that list.
Guy Pearce, Paul Bettany.
Yeah,
Paul Bettany would have been pretty great. I think, actually. Jerry O'Connell would have been a lot cheaper.
Sure, yeah. If you're going to get, I mean, at the very least, he'd be on par with the Cage performance and cheaper. So.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I feel like Jerry O'Connell kind of sounds more, I don't know. He sounds young. He doesn't have that like fatherly feel to him. I don't know. I thought it was worth pointing out that this film takes place in 2108 because I was confused as to when it was supposed to be. So it's basically 100 years in the future from when they were producing it, which was 2008. I don't feel like we're going to advance that much by 2108, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I do feel like the planet will be dead, but, but I don't think we'll have, all of the technology to float a mountain into space or into the upper atmosphere or whatever. The Japanese release of this movie actually uses the original Astro Boy form, maintaining the whole look and feel of the original. Didn't update it at all, which is kind of weird that they would, because like he's wearing clothes and stuff for half the thing, and like I don't know, is it just like Astro Boy, but he has like these clothes over the top? I don't know what it's going to look like. I kind of want to watch the Japanese version, though I don't really ever want to watch this movie again. Not to say it's horrible. It's just, yeah. The differences can be noted in comparison between the U.S. and Japanese trailers for the movie, which I did not watch, but I want to now. And I guess I'm encouraging our audience to go watch the difference if they watch Astro Boy, which they probably won't. or this episode. The film was not a success in Japan, like I mentioned, opening at the bottom end of the top 10 films of the week when it premiered. But initially, it broke box office opening records for a CGI film in China at the time. It's just bottom of the barrel in one country and top ever in another country. However, the numbers dropped off after just a few days. I guess word of mouth got out. By the end of its run in China, it was not considered a box office success. Unlike two other U.S.-produced Japanese-based films had done previously, Dragon Ball Evolution and Speed Racer had tanked in Japan, but went on to be hugely successful in China. They just this one just tanked everywhere. But Dragon Ball Evolution and Speed Racer apparently did huge business over there, which explains why the Wachowskis were able to make that Jupiter Ascending movie after the failure of Speed Racer.
Oh, I forgot they did Speed Racer.
Yeah. Who thought making a fucking, like, it looks so expensive and so unnecessary for what it is. It's Speed Racer. We didn't need, first of all, we didn't need a live action version of Speed Racer at all. And like, to basically, it seems like, I haven't seen it, but it just seems like the whole thing was created in CG.
Yeah, but it's all live action and it just looks really off-putting and give you a headache just watching it. It's just so...
It tries to capture that like frenetic craziness of the cartoon, but like in a live action form, and it's just annoying and